Hi, mission revealed here. Today I'm going to explain the American science fiction film, The Shape of Water. Released in the year 2017. Let's get started. In 1962, during the Cold War, there was the Occam Aerospace Research Center, a secret government laboratory in Baltimore, Maryland. Elisa Esposito is a mute woman who works there as a cleaner. She lives in a small apartment under the cinema. In Elisa's life, every day is like the previous one. Since childhood, Elisa had scars on her neck, and she constantly wondered where they came from. Giles is her neighbor, an artist and her best friend. The other neighbors treat her well, as she is a polite and friendly woman. She gets to work by bus and is already met there by her co-worker Zelda Fuller, and tries to help Elisa when others try to bully her. They are both responsible for maintaining cleanliness in offices and other rooms. Their job is to clean the offices and rooms used by top management. In one of the working shifts, one of the bosses announces that a new and valuable object captured in South America has been brought to the research center. A container with liquid is brought into the room, which is accompanied by Richard Strickland, responsible for the project. When Elisa comes closer to the container, something from inside hits it, attracting everyone's attention. Frightened, the friends leave the room and get to work. While cleaning the men's room, the girls meet Colonel Strickland, who is unfriendly. Continuing to work, the cleaners hear a scream from the room where the container is located. Strickland goes out into the corridor without two fingers on his left hand and calls the guards for help. The cleaners are instructed to quickly clean the room of blood. When Elisa throws a bucket of water on the floor, two of the colonel's fingers appear from the corner. She carefully puts them in a bag to send to the hospital. Elisa approaches the container and discovers an amphibian man. Fascinated by the creature, Elisa returns to the room the next day to see the amphibian once again. She gently knocks on the container, but the amphibian was moved to a small pool nearby. She tries to get his attention and offers a boiled egg. In the following days, Elisa regularly sneaks into the room and feeds him boiled eggs. She teaches him to use sign language and turns on music for him on a record player. Elisa dances in front of the container, and at this time Dr. Robert Hofstadter, who is a Russian spy named Dmitry Mosinkov, sees Elisa establishing a close relationship with an amphibian man. He informs his Soviet curator that this creature is intelligent and can communicate. Hofstadter's bosses ignore this and order him to kill him before the Americans can advance further in their scientific research. During one of Elisa's meetings with an amphibian man, she saw that he was chained to a small platform, and Strickland was cruelly mocking him. Meanwhile, Strickland's boss, General Hoyt, wants to take the amphibian for further research in space technology. Strickland manages to convince the general that they should perform vivisection. Elisa overhears their conversation and is upset. She asks Giles for help to free this creature. She knows for sure that if nothing's done, the amphibian will die. Elisa continues to insist and finally Giles agrees to help her. A little later, Hofstadter meets with his bosses again. They hand him syringes and bottles of poisonous liquid to kill the amphibian man. Hofstadter is forced to obey their order. Meanwhile, Elisa and Giles develop an escape plan for the amphibian man. He uses his skills as an artist to make an inscription on the van and a fake ID for himself. In the laboratory, Elisa becomes the object of Strickland's attention. He deliberately spills his glass of water and causes her to clean his office. He pesters Elisa, after which she leaves. Hofstadter is preparing poison when Elisa begins to put her plan into action by turning the surveillance cameras to the side in Strickland's office. Hofstadter learns about Elisa's plan and decides to help her, after which he goes to the room with the amphibian. He gives her the keys to remove the chain from the amphibian man. When Zelda leaves work, she feels that Elisa is up to something and decides to find her. Elisa secretly shoves the amphibian man into a laundry cart and drives him down the hallway. While Giles goes to the agreed place. He tries to drive into the building, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Zelda finds out about Elisa's plan. Hofstadter turns off the power supply with an explosive device and sticks a syringe with poison into the guard who stopped Giles at the entrance. They successfully load the amphibian into the van and drive away. At the same time, Strickland from the security service hurries to the exit, but does not have time. This infuriates him. Elisa, Giles, and amphibian safely stay in the cleaner's apartment. They immerse him in a bath of water and chemicals that Hofstadter took with him to keep the creature healthy. After a while, the amphibian gets better. After he was out of the water for a while, In a few days, when it rains, Elisa plans to release it into a nearby canal, which will fill with water and provide easy access to the ocean. In the lab, Strickland and his team have already figured out exactly how the thieves managed to escape with the amphibian. When Elisa and Zelda arrive at work the next evening, Strickland interrogates them, but strongly doubts that they did it. At this time, Giles falls asleep in the apartment watching the creature. It gets out of the bathroom and eats one of the cats, after which, seeing Giles, it runs out of the apartment, scratching the man's hand. When Elisa returns home after work, she sees Giles is wounded by Amphibian Man. She then rushes to find Amphibian Man, and she finds the Amphibian Man in the cinema and returns it back to the apartment. At night, Elisa can't sleep. She wants to check out the amphibian, but this time she seduces by Amphibian Man and takes off her clothes, then closes herself in the bath with the Amphibian Man. Later, the Amphibian Man has already learned that the cats are one of the menu, and he tries to make it right with Giles for eating one of them. He places his hand Giles' head and wound, glowing magnificently, signifying something magical happening. Meanwhile, Hofstadler is at home and is visited by Russian bosses. Sensing danger, he hides the knife in his sleeve. But nothing terrible happens, and they leave. In the morning, Giles wakes up to find that hair has started to grow on his head after being touched by an amphibian last night. He also notices that the cut on his arm has completely healed. At this time, Elisa and Amphibian are getting remarkably close. She completely floods the room so they can swim together. This leads to water leakage throughout the house. The theater owner complains about this, forcing Giles to open the bathroom door, and he sees both of them making love to each other and smiles after sees this moment. Returning to the laboratory, the general informs Strickland that in 36 hours, he must return the amphibian to the base, otherwise his career and life will end. In the morning, Elisa comes home and realizes that the amphibian is getting weaker every day. She decides it's time to let him go, but she's not ready for separation. Elisa can't imagine a world in which they could be together. Meanwhile, one of his bosses shoots at Hofstadler, and Strickland, waiting for a good moment, kills both bosses. Strickland tortures a barely alive scientist to find out where the creature is and finds out that the cleaner stole the amphibian. He rushes to Zelda to interrogate her. Strickland becomes violent to find the amphibian. Zelda's husband, saving himself and his wife, tells Strickland the truth about the creature. Zelda calls Elisa to warn her about the danger. The man goes to her apartment, but she is no longer there. He notices the calendar and realizes that it is today that Elisa will set the amphibian free. Strickland reaches the canal, knocks Giles down and shoots the creature and Elisa. The injured couple holds hands until the very end. At this time, Giles manages to get up and knock Strickland down. Suddenly, the amphibian man rises and heals his injuries. Strickland is impressed and calls the creature God while it cuts the man's throat with its claws. Soon the police arrive, and the amphibian jumps into the water with Elisa. The creature kisses the girl and touches the scar on her neck to heal. Soon, gills form on her neck, thanks to which she can breathe underwater. The couple in love remains underwater. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.